I was born in the northern of Germany. I didn't have a very good relationship to my father because he drank a lot and very often he was mean to me. On the other hand, my mother, really, she was kind, lovely, and I can tell you, I loved my mother from the bottom of my heart. One day, the doctors, they diagnosed it that she has cancer, and only a few days later, she died and she was gone. And this was for me horrible, I tell you. I feel completely empty, no hope, angry. I couldn't understand, really, I couldn't get it. How a God can be so painful to others and take the best what I had in my life, just take it away. I hate everything around me. I will never trust anyone. And especially, I lost also the trust completely in God. And therefore, I decided to go to the German Air Force.
This is this month's Tear segment, a segment that's there not to teach you anything, but to make you cry. Because if this cult can fool you into feeling something, maybe you'll relate that feeling to the cult. In this case, we got the story of Jörg Hocker, a man who joined the military out of grief from losing his mom, and guess what? He found out that that wasn't the path to true happiness, which means the only path to true happiness is following this cult.
So a little later on my military career, I was working with a missile launch crew. One day, I realized that just with one launch of this missile, I could be responsible for to kill thousands of people. When all this come to my mind, I start to think, is it possible there is a God existing? And when so, how would he think about my work, what I'm doing here? There was in my family my aunt, and once she told me, Dieter, if someday you will like to know something more about God, about the Bible, you have to contact Jehovah's Witnesses. They know exactly what is the prophecy from the Bible, and this can give you hope. And from there on, I studied the Bible, and also I came to the meetings from them. So in one meeting, my wife Elvia sitting beside me, I was sure I have to make a big change, to be together with these people who loves Jehovah God, and I'm still working for the German Air Force.
So this guy went to the Jehovah's Witnesses because he was working on a place that had missiles? Because it's not like the Germans were active in war efforts 50 years ago, as he makes it sound by saying that those missiles could kill a lot of people. So he saw some missiles and went, oh no, those kill people, and realized that he needed to be a Jehovah's Witness instead? Why? How? Also, this is a dramatization, right? Where did they get the missiles? Did Bethelites build prop missiles? Is that what Bethelites do nowadays? Build things that are supposed to be so bad that make people want to go to God instead? This is terrible and predictable in so many different layers.
I decided officially refuse the military service because my conscience bothered me. I felt really confident that this was the right decision to do. So at that court day, and this was surprising for me, they told me that my request will be rejected. If I refuse to go on with my military service, I will be sent to prison. I really didn't know what to do. And then I saw that Jehovah took over. My site commander told me, do you know what? I have a solution for you. You can appeal the court decision. He offered me an office job. So the only thing what I have to do was a paperwork. And the shift from 8 hours, I was finished after 2 hours, I was done with this. 6 months, 5 days a week, 6 hours a day. I was just studying and studying. I felt not only that I drew closer to Jehovah. After the hearing, the presiding judge told me, when the decision is made, it will be final. So back in my unit, the next days they were horrible. One day, my site commander came into my office and he got a very, very serious face. Wow, I knew what is coming up. I was seeing me already behind the bars. Then surprising, he told me, hey, this is a sad news for me. The decision is made, yeah? You are free to go. And I will lose my best officer what I have.
So this guy decided to not be a soldier anymore. And at first, it looked like he wasn't going to be able to, but then he was able to. That's the whole story, right? Sure, they try to make everything sound dramatic, but at the end of the day, this guy accidentally proved one thing. It is easier to leave the army at any moment with your honor intact than it is to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses.
When I first started having some health problems, my biggest concern was my goals. With health situations, it's easy to get overwhelmed. I had to find a part-time job that is agreeable to my pioneering schedule and to my energy levels.
This is a perfect example of how your life is worse as a Jehovah's Witness. Instead of worrying about getting better, spending more quality time with family, and eating healthier maybe, the main worry of this Jehovah's Witness when she got diagnosed with an obscure disease that they will not name was to make sure that she would still work just as hard for the cult. I mean, look at her goals. None of them have to do with personal goals or learning about the Bible or whatever. They are all about working for the cult. And this broadcast just keeps showing you examples of how being a Jehovah's Witness makes your life actively worse.
I was offered after high school the opportunity to attend a prestigious university for no cost. But Jehovah invites you to rely on Him, not to rely on yourself.
Growing up, my family didn't have a lot materially. It caused me to have a tendency to want to rely on myself instead of Jehovah. I realized that I needed to have more trust in Jehovah, and that was going to require working on my faith.
These two people got actively held back by the cult, forbidding them from having superior education for free and making them work for free for the cult instead of for themselves. And that is probably the worst part of being in a cult. Living not for yourself, your goals and your dreams, but for the cult. And when that doesn't bring you happiness, you're gaslit into thinking that that's your own fault because you aren't spiritual enough. So you just end up pretending you're happy so people think you are a spiritual person at least. There's no reward or anything. The only thing this cult can give you is the false hope that they will pay you back after you die. And you just have to trust you've done enough for the cult for you to be deserving of that reward. Because guess what? Things will not work out if you just trust Jehovah.
I decided to find a part-time job that provided the means necessary to pay for things like food and clothing. But really, it was going to provide me with an opportunity to focus on that service to Jehovah. After some time, I realized that the job I'd originally taken was not providing what I needed anymore. A change was necessary. So another opportunity came up to pursue higher education. While I was considering my options, a friend recommended a job that required a little bit of vocational training, but would pay to cover my expenses. Psalm chapter 23 and verse 1 has absolutely been true for us. There's never been a moment where we went hungry. There's never been a moment where we didn't have what we needed.
This is the fallacy that you must internalize as a Jehovah's Witness. Sure, you might have wasted your chance to get higher education and then got a job that wasn't even paying you enough. But did you die? No? Well, that was Jehovah right there taking care of you. Oh, what? You wanted Jehovah to take care of you by making sure you got a job that paid a living wage? Yeah, that's not how Jehovah works. He wishes he could. He's just not powerful enough, I guess. Anyway, just go back working for free for the cult.
For us, it was always, if you can do it, because it will make you happy and will make life more enjoyable.
Working at the Assembly Hall is an enormous privilege. It's great to work in Jehovah's organization and see how it works, to receive training, and at the same time, It's an opportunity to meet even more people who are all putting Jehovah first. Looking back on it, I realized that Jehovah gave us that time to work for him so that he could show his power to us in a way that was undeniable.
Working for the cult equals working for Jehovah. And while the camaraderie can be enjoyable, it's definitely not a sign of Jehovah. What's more, it's not even comparable to the camaraderie that you'll likely find volunteering at a soup's kitchen or somewhere else, since the people there won't judge you for your clothes, your spiritual reputation, or your lifestyle. They're usually just happy that you're there to help out. But that's all for now. There are still some juicy bits to the broadcast, so subscribe and consider supporting me like these handsome peeps right here, who I really appreciate because they give me money for pizza, and that's why they can already watch the full version of my rebuttal to this month's JW Broadcasting.